There was an artist in the 18th century up in Copenhagen, Denmark, who received a commission for a church statue, a statue of Jesus. His name was Albert something son. Talbertson, I knew I should have wrote it down. But Albert. He was commissioned and he thought, I'm going to make the pièce de résistance of my statue. I'm going to make it to, exhibit the majesty of Jesus. I'm going to, do Christ the King in all his glory. So he went out and he did his statue in clay. And he was going to have it fired to porcelain. He had it finished. He had an inscription at the bottom, "Follow my commands." And this statue was Jesus, regal, muscular, robes flowing, arms in the air, head held high. The night before he was to take it to be fired and hardened, it was in a shed, and there were some water problems, and it damaged the statue. Instead of the head being regal, the head stooped over. Instead of the arms being like this, they fell and became like this. He looked at the statue and was thinking, okay, do I redo this or what? And the more he looked at it, the more he came to realize that his perception of Jesus was not really appropriate, that this new perception was more appropriate. He changed the sign. Instead of saying, "Follow my commands," he changed it to, "Come unto me." The statue in itself changed not appearances, but meaning. From one of glory and power to one of welcoming. This statue is a famous statue, and it's been copied many times. Many different churches use it. What I'd like to share with you this morning is basically what our perception of Jesus is. What is our perception of ourselves? What is our perception of the world? Albert had this vision of who God is supposed to be. And he discovered that that notion wasn't truly who Jesus is. Jesus, even though he has the right to be regal and all-powerful and demanding that everybody follow him, if we look at Scripture, that wasn't his rule at all, was it? "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. Bring the little children unto me. Woman, there is your son. Son, there is your mother. Where are those? You must follow me. You must do as I say. but rather he gathered people. Don't tell anybody I was a king. Don't tell anybody I'm the Messiah. Let them choose. Jesus, though he was in the form of God, did not deem equality with God something to be grasped at. Rather, he took the form of a slave. Jesus is one who calls us to be his disciples, not because he demands it or has that right. He calls us to be his disciples because he wants us to be his family. We think of Christ the King as glorious, but Christ the King is one who suffers and dies on the cross, one who is the servant. For us, if we are to imitate Christ, if we are to be his likeness, how therefore do we act? When we're with others, do we have the stance, I want you to do what I want you to do? Instead of being welcoming, are we demanding? Instead of drawing people in, are we pushing them away? I've worked with pastors over the years, some of which we're going to do it my way, and I don't want any input. This is it. I've had others, do whatever you want. I don't care. One is demanding, one is apathetic. To lead like Jesus, we have to focus, care, worry, and love. This Christ the King, how do you fulfill your office as prince or princess? How are you part of the ruling family of Jesus? Do you demand or do you welcome? Do as I do. Come unto me.